Good morning, thank you. Thanks for tuning in today. Today's class, Hatha 1, be based in strengthening your hips, strengthening your shoulders. I'm going to do minimal forward bending, and that's really great for people that are struggling with their lower back. If you struggle with transitions, having a chair or having some piece of furniture to get up and down is always good. I won't do a lot of that, but at some point we will transition. And 10 minutes into the practice, you're good. You could always rest. It's nice to do 60 minutes. It's nice to always do more yoga if you have the time. But sometimes I really like a short practice, very attentive and more specific for what I need. And sometimes that's better than a longer practice. So if you haven't taken my Zoom class, that's on Sundays, and that's from 10 to 11, and that's something that I could interact with you. I can answer questions. So to register for that class, it's jonwittyoga.com, and you could buy masks or donate to our mask project, where we're donating more and more masks to the medical field. So we're going to start the class in a standing position. So when you come up to stand, you're just going to take your feet a little bit wider than your shoulders, and just move the arms a bit, swinging the arms. So when I'm moving my arms, I'm lifting my heel in opposition. So if you had something going on in your knee, that's something that I would definitely do. So people when they pivot, when they turn, you should be either pivoting from your toe or pivoting from your heel, and that'll take the stress off the knee. If you keep your foot flat and you pivot, that's how you can, tear a knee. Think of like a ski boot. Your feet are fixed, your knees go one way, and the boot stays the same. That's how the knee tears. So just in moving the arms, just see if it's better to move them at the height that I am. Not that you have to be at this height. It could be bigger. It could certainly be smaller. And then just come back into the middle and just bring the feet back underneath you. Notice the weight, bring the weight into the toes or the heels, depending on how you stand. And then come up on the toes, lift the heels off the floor. Just a couple breaths and coming up. All right. And then you're gonna lower the heels, and I'm gonna step my left foot forward, my right foot is back, and I'm just gonna move my arm independently. In moving the arm, it'll help with the shoulder. And I've said this before, as far as it's great to have your arms static, but let's say your shoulders are very tight, they just don't move very well. These swings can greatly help you. When I swing it back, it's okay if the body turns a little bit. So especially if you have an irritated shoulder. Now I'm going to bring it back in space and forward. So just about 5 times. And then I'm going to bring it down and let it swing, and then I'm going to bring it back in space. Now when I bring it back, you can turn the ribs to the arm, to the hand. And then on the last one, take the arm up and look to the hand, and then keep looking, and very good for the neck. So I'm going to turn the feet opposition, and I'm just going to swing the arm a little bit. And I keep my right arm on my rib cage, and that's so that I don't knock into it. So you're going to take it back and forward in space. And then as you take it forward, notice at the top I kind of let my arm be a little bit more limp. So just let it kind of hang down and drop. And then you can bring it back. And I've said this before, you haven't moved your arms very much, you'll get really hot. It's a sign that the shoulder is moving a bit better, your circulation is better. Now on the last one, keep looking to the hand as you take it back. Again, really good for the shoulders. So turn the feet forward and just move. I'm moving on the outsides of my feet, and I'm moving in. So just warm up the ankles a little bit. And then I'm going to have my hands on my knees, and I'm just going to bend the knees a little bit. Now when you bend your knees partially, just see where you may need to stop. So it's a partial knee bend is a great beginning to bending the knee more. So like when you pick something up off the floor, if I were to pick something up off the floor, not you have to do this, but It's a partial knee bend rather than a squat. You could certainly squat down if you're picking something up really heavy, but the partial knee bend will help you in bending the knee. So I'm gonna have my hands on my knees and I'm just gonna do some small circles. Really small, again, if you have problematic knees. And then circle in the opposite direction. Might be some clicking or popping. Again, as long as the knee doesn't hurt, should be good for adding more motion into the knee. And then come back to standing and take the feet a little bit wider than the shoulders and turn the feet out. Take the arms out wide and then just bend the knees just a little bit. And then when you bend the knees a little bit, push the thighs apart. So in getting the thighs to move apart, you'll be able to sit lower. Not that lower is better, but for some people in taking their legs out wide, it's the adductors that are weak and they're tight. But when your feet are like this, you're gonna get stronger both on the inside and most of it will be happening in the outside of the hip. So push the legs apart for a few more breaths. If you wanna sit lower, explore a lower position, you can do that. Go into the weaker of the legs. My right leg is weaker than my left. It's usually the opposite leg, to the dominant arm. And then you can bring yourself back up. So turn the feet forward, just step the feet back together and just reset the feet just so that you're standing nice and upright. Take a couple deep breaths. And take the feet out nice and wide. And when you take the feet out, into a wide stance, turn the right foot out a bit, turn the left foot in, take the arms wide, and then bend the right knee and lift the thighs up and out. And then I'm going to do a bit of rotation in the shoulders. So you could have your thumbs turn up towards the ceiling and turn the shoulders back and then bring the arms forward. So rotate the arms down, so thumbs down, and then you're rotating the shoulders in and then rotate it back one more time, right? And bring your right forearm on your right thigh. And then I'm going to move the arm forward overhead. I'm going to let it hang down and just let it relax. I'm going to bring it forward, turning more if I need it, and then just letting the arm again relax. And then I'm going to bring it forward last time. I'm going to look to the hand if I can, and that'll produce more extension. You could always be looking down as well. Come back into a warrior two, drop through the tail, lift through the pubic bone, get very specific through the inner thigh. And then bring yourself back up. Turn the right foot in and turn the left foot to the left. Again, think of the thighs lifting up and out. And then on an exhale, bend the left knee. And then as you bend the left knee, push the thighs apart, get good space into the hips. I'm going to turn the thumbs up and rotate the shoulders back. I'm going to bring them forward and down and rotate the shoulders in. I'm going to move the thumbs up and rotate it back. I'm going to bring it forward one more time and then back. And again, I've said this before, you could be looking over the left hand. You could certainly be looking over the right, both are good. Bring the left forearm on the left arm and just let the arm kind of dangle down and bring it forward overhead. Use your back foot. Let the arm kind of hang down, let it drop. Bring it forward. Keep looking to the hand if you can. And then bring it down, let it drop. And then bring it forward overhead. Now think that I have my hands on your ribs and you're turning to the right. Right? And if you have a wall, you could be doing all these poses up against the wall. You could be facing the wall too. Very good to help with your posture. Let it come down, bring yourself back up into a warrior two. Couple deep breaths, right? And then bring yourself back up, and then you can bring the arms down. Bring the feet in just a little bit closer or step them back together. You're back into standing. So I'm going to do a little bit of rotations in the hips. I'm going to do one slow, and then maybe we'll do another one in terms of repetition. So take the right leg up, now pull it into the chest with the hand or without. And then bring it out to the right and find an angle again that you're weak in. I say this all the time, but as you find that angle, That'll help with a number of positions. One in particular, say you can't grab your feet in happy baby. You can bring it forward and then bring it down, and then we're going to take the right leg up again. So bring it back up, pull it into the chest a little bit with the arm, which is good. You can bring it out. If pulling a leg up is irritating the hip, you'd want to create more space in the hip, and that could be your opposite hand, it could be a hand towel, something like that. Bring it forward and bring it down. Take the left leg up, and with the left leg up, you could pull it into the chest. You could take it out to the side. Again, really good to use a wall, Your posture most certainly would be better with some support. And you might actually be setting yourself up for better balance. Bring it forward, pull it in, bring it down, take it up again so the left leg is up, bring it out to the side a bit. Think that the knee is moving up into the shoulder. Take a couple deep breaths here. Bring it forward and pull it in more, bring it down. And then take the feet out again, wider than the shoulders. Turn the feet out, take the arms wide, bend the knees. Now, if you're wanting to stretch out the inner thighs, a really wide stance for this can work. I gradually, move them out a little bit more. If you feel like you're wanting to move them out even more, of course you can do that. Push the legs apart. See the knees, see if one knee is falling in more than the other. Take 2 deep breaths here. Tailbone is down and pubic bone's lifting up. Then bring yourself back up. And then when you come up, turn the right foot in, turn the left foot out. I'm doing the left side for triangle because I say this all the time. You might need left side angles more than the right. So we could do left, right, and then you could do the left more if you need it, right? Take the arms out wide, reach to the left. You grab the left shin. You can take the right arm up. I'm going to bring the arm forward in space. That's good for me. I'm going to just bring it down. I'm going to turn through the chest, turn through the shoulders. I'm going to take the right arm up, push through the feet. Again, you could be higher. Might be way better and higher than lower. Bring it forward one more time. Let it hang down, let it drop. Turn through the chest, turn through the ribs. Take the right arm up and just keep it up. So push through the feet, drop the tail, lift the pubic bone. Get lower if that lower is better for you. Bring yourself back up as you inhale. Turn the left foot in, turn the right foot out. Take the arms wide, reach out to the right, grab the right shin, the foot or the floor or block. The left arm is up. And then just take it forward in space. Look to the hand. And especially if you have trouble with balance, just bring it down controlled. You have good balance, you can kind of let it drop, right? Turn through the chest, push through the feet, lift through the pubic bone, take the left arm up to the ceiling, and express more if you need more of an expression. Bring it forward, overhead. Take a couple deep breaths. You can bring it down, you can let it hang down, and then we'll turn the chest. We'll take the left arm up to the ceiling. Again, be higher or lower with your right hand. See what's better for you today. And then inhale, bring yourself back up. You can turn the right foot in and then just step the feet back together. Just standing neutral. Again, see how your weight sits in your feet. Organize your feet so that your feet are straight. Feet together has its place. For women, not always a good choice. It can be really hard on the knees. We'll come down onto your hands and your knees. And then as you're on your hands and your knees, push through the hands and round the spine into a cat stretch. Look forward, look up. Exhale, round your back. Use your fingertips here. Back bend, lift the chin, lift the chest. Exhale, round the spine. Back bend, lift the chin, lift the chest. And then exhale, round your back. and then come back to neutral. Walk the hands over to the left side, look high over the left shoulder. So lifting the chin, lifting the chest, and then just let the head come down. Let it relax. And then inhale, lift the chin, lift the chest. Keep the ribs in if that's good for you. Bring the hands back into the middle and then to the right, just so that I don't run into the wall. Just moved off a little bit. So lift the head, lift the chest. Keep the ribs in, especially if you're a person that has more of a anterior tilt in the pelvis. You can get a posterior tilt here. Bring the head down, and then lift the chin, lift the chest, and then come back into the middle. So bring the hands back into neutral. Now take the right arm forward, take the left leg back in space. Not that you have to be perfect, but if I'm here, it's really all my leg that's supporting me and up. I want my hand to support me as well. Bring the right hand down, and then take the left arm forward and the right leg back. Keep the belly and the ribs in. Grip the floor. Couple deep breaths here. And bring the left hand down and the right knee down. Now push through the hands and round through the shoulders, and if you can, lift up into a plank pose. So strengthen the thighs, pull the abdomen in, right? Get your weight. I say this all the time, if you're integrated, you'll get stronger and you'll be able to support your weight better. If you're just kind of hanging out, very good for the skeletal system, but not as, it's not gonna build much strength. All right, lower the knees, and when you lower the knees, keep the hips over the knees and drop down to the elbows and reach the arms forward if you can. So keep the ribs in. You could look forward if you want. You can lift the head up. Just bring the arms back a little bit so it's easier on the shoulder, and then take the hands to the left and just be in a different angle with your hips over your knees. Keep the ribs in. Right, bring the hands back a little bit just so that it's not so hard on the shoulders. Come into the middle and then go off to the right and just kind of see how your body is when you're going off the singular line or the linear line. Might actually be better for you. And then come back into the middle, have the hands just underneath the shoulders. Stay on the knees, right? And slowly lower all the way to the floor. So come down. Keep your head down, have your arms in a 90-degree angle, and lift the arms up off the floor. Make your hands into fists. Keep lifting the arms if you can. Get a wider sensation into the shoulders. Bring them down for a moment and just relax. Take the arms up again. And when you take them up, bring the elbows into the body and take the arms back. So arms are back. Bring them forward if you can, wide. So I just don't have a lot of space, that's why I'm not taking a wide angle, but you could certainly take the arms wider and back. Bring the elbows underneath the shoulders, lift the chin, lift the chest. Pull yourself forward in space. I'm going to change the angle. I'm going to go a little bit to the left. And then my whole right side's getting longer when I'm off this line. So it might be something that you need more. All right, stay here, come into the middle, or go off to the right. And then when you're off to the right, then it's again just a little bit of a different angle. Look high over the right shoulder. Bring yourself into the middle. If you can, take your feet off the floor a little bit. Pull them in. And then bring them down. One more time, bring them up. And just see, like, bringing your legs in more could possibly help you more. But maybe you're just a little off the floor. Maybe that's the best angle. Bring your feet down. Have your hands underneath your shoulders. Come up into a little bit of a cobra, but don't use so much of your arms. Use more of the strength of your back. And then as you come up, right, then start to use the hands a little bit more. Keep moving forward. Bring yourself down. I'm going to come up again. Lift the chin, lift the chest. Push through the hands. Maybe you're up higher Doesn't have to be the case. You can move the weight around. You can see how I'm moving. I'd adjust the hips, the pelvis a little bit differently. And then bring yourself forward, come all the way down. Have the hands just underneath the shoulders. Lift up to all fours or push with the hands. Lift straight up into a plank and go back up into a down dog. So pull way, way back through the thighs, push through the hands. And like I said about forward bending, this is about the extent of forward bending that we'll do. I'm not going to spend a lot of time forward bending today. So swing forward and through into an up dog. Come forward, come through. Pull back. One more time, come forward, come through. Lift through the pubic bone. Pull back in space. And then come down onto the knees and sit back into a child's pose. So you could be rounding the back. You could take the arms back. The reason I had you over your hips over knees before, that may work better for you. And when I said forward bending, I was talking more about like standing forward bending, which it's not advanced, but it can be really advanced for people. It can be tricky. So take a couple deep breaths here. All right, then come back up to all fours. And when you come back up to all fours, you're going to step your right foot forward into a lunge. So the right foot is forward and the left leg is back. So just kind of move the weight around to adjust the hips. Take the back knee off the floor and take the right arm up to the ceiling. So the right arm is high, left hand is low. Bring the right hand down for a moment and then take it back up again. Take 2 deep breaths here. Bring the right hand down. Walk the hands over to the left hip. Look high over the left shoulder. Bring the hands back into the middle. And just as you're on the inside of the leg, we're going to try to get your shoulder and your knee together. So right shoulder, right knee. Might need a block underneath your right hand. Take your left arm up to the ceiling and turn through the upper body. So you could have your hand behind your head as well. So if my hand is behind my head, I know that my head's in the right place. You could still be forward with your head with your hand behind your head. So you want to move your head back, right, so that you're starting to free up your upper back. Take the left arm up to the ceiling for another breath, and then bring the left hand down. And then as you're on your hands, just step back to all fours, all four position. Push through the hands around the spine. Look forward, look up, back bend. Exhale, round your back. Back bend again. And then exhale, round your back. So if I'm up on blocks, it's easier to step forward in any capacity. Have the blocks underneath your hand if you need to. Step the left foot forward, and then with the left foot forward, organize yourself, get low. Some people are here, 90-degree angle. That's just a byproduct of inflexibility. It'll get easier to get lower. Then tuck the toes and take the left arm up to the ceiling. So the left arm is high and the right hand is low. It's a great setup for eventually doing side plank. For some of you that don't have a lot of strength in your hand, this really is your side plank. You could bring your left hand down and then take the left arm up to the ceiling. So the left arm is up and the right hand supporting you. All these twists, especially if you don't back bend very well, very good to do. Bring the left hand down and then bring the right knee down, and then walk the hands over to the right hip and look high over the right shoulder. So lift the head, lift the chest. Take the hands back into the middle. And with the hands back in the middle, what I'm going to do is pin my left shoulder to my left knee, and I'm going to take the right arm up to the ceiling. So the right arm is up, and again, you might be like, wow, it's so difficult to twist on this side. You could always take the hand down, rest when you need to, right? And then take it back up again. And the hand, like I said, could be behind the head. Take 2 deep breaths. And then take the right arm up if it was behind the head. Bring the right hand down and then step back with the left foot, the left knee, right? Have the hands just underneath the shoulders, lift up into a plank. So grip the floor, push through the hands, get your shoulders involved, right? Your shoulders should support you. Hands, forearms, go up into a down dog. So go back with the hips, pull back with the hips. Think I'm pulling the arms forward. Right? And then come down on the knees, and then when you come down on the knees, sit on a block in between your feet. So I'm going to sit on one block. So I'm sitting on the second level. You're welcome to sit lower, you're welcome to sit higher. If it's really hard on the feet, roll up your mat, support the feet, so that if I have space between my foot and the floor, that can be really hard for people. If I have a very high arch or more of a bony mass to the foot, that can be really hard on the foot as well. So probably sitting higher would help that. Again, supporting the feet. So take the arms into a cactus position, have the arms or the hands in fists, and just bring the hands forward to the height of the shoulders. Take them back in space. Bring them forward again. Stay really relaxed in the shoulders, and you'll notice that it'll be easier to get the hands lower. Not that that's so important, but you'll have more of a rotation in the arms, internal rotation. Take the arms back, and then just bring the arms down for a couple breaths. Welcome to interlace the fingers. I'm going to round my back, and I'm going to take the arms up. You could look up as well. Round through the spine, round through your back. Take the arms up, look up, round your back last time. Inhale, take the arms up. And when you take the arms up again, it feels good to kind of just arc, but keep some resistance in the front of your body, and you'll actually do more for your shoulders. It'll be more specific for the shoulders. Then bring the hands forward, bring them down, and then just to see if you can sit a little bit lower. And I've said this in classes before, the front of your body is probably tighter than your back in some ways. So sitting like this daily, if it does not hurt your knees or your feet, is something that I would practice more often. If you want to sit all the way down, you're welcome to do that. Not that lower is better, but there's a greater stress in the quads and the peroneals. Come back up onto your hands and knees if you're done sitting. Tuck the toes, lift up into a plank. Just kind of move the weight around a little bit. See where you hold your weight. Right? And then go back up into a down dog. And then in a down dog, just walk the feet forward a little bit. Maybe the middle of your mat, walk your hands back towards your feet. Bring your elbows above your knees and be in more of a flat back position. And then bring yourself back up. As you come back up, take the arms overhead, hook the thumbs, bend the knees, straighten the legs, and come up onto the toes. Lift the heels off the floor. A couple deep breaths here. Good, lower the heels and keep the arms up. Move your feet in so that your feet are underneath you, have a better base, and take the left foot up off the floor. And then open up to the left. So you're twisting to the leg that's up. You certainly could twist to the other direction. It's just, it would be more specific in twisting the thoracic. You could look past the left hand, drive through the right foot, turn forward. You could bring the hands together and the foot down. Take the right foot up off the floor. Again, use a wall if you need it. Take the arms overhead. If I got a lot of weight in the toes, I'm swaying my back, right? You want to keep your hips over your foot. Twist to the right, and then when you twist to the right, get the head over your torso, and then as your torso sits in space, it should be directly over the left foot. And that'll help with your knees. You could turn forward, you could bring the hands together, you could bring the right foot down, and then just go back to having the hands on the knees. Just bend the knees a bit, straighten the legs, bend the legs, Straighten them out. Last time, bend the knees, and then just a small circle to the left. Good for the hips, good for your knees. Circle around the opposite direction. You have something preconditioned, right? And it's really a lot of stress around the knee, obviously. Stick to more of a straight line. And then as the knees get stronger and healthier, then we can circle again and then stand back up. But the knee's gonna deviate, most likely. I mean, if you record your knees going up or down stairs, you'll see that the knee dips in. So come to the top of the mat, just bend the knees a little bit, lift up the left heel off the floor, right? So you're just in kind of, just learning to balance a little bit, right? You could come forward, you could be extending. I could be here too, right? Just a couple breaths here. It's perfectly fine to bend the knee, the bottom leg, and then go step forward with the left foot. Take the arms overhead, bring the weight into the heels, straighten back up, come up onto the toes with the heels, tailbones down and pubic bones up for, again, more of an anterior tilt person. Lower the heels, bring the arms down, bend the knees, lift the right heel up off the floor. You know, practice, you know, taking it up and down, bring it back if that's good. And again, like just an outstanding line is great to do, but if that's what you do, you get really good at that. And then there's other things you could do, like someone that has really good alignment, they're probably gonna be better off not getting so lined up, if that makes sense. So bring yourself back up, straighten the legs out, come up on the toes, lift the heels off the floor, lower the heels, bring the arms down, bend the knees, step the left foot back for a warrior one. Take the arms forward and bring the left arm underneath the right arm. So grab the shoulders, root down through the tailbone, lift through the pubic bone, and then just straighten the right leg out. Get nice and tall through the upper body, then go back to bending the right knee. And not that you have to have all your pressure in your left foot, but you should have some. Take the arms forward, turn the palms up, take the arms overhead, and the hands could be wider than the shoulders. So for those of you that have tighter shoulders, you could be in more of like a Y position rather than straight up over the shoulders. Might be better for you. Right, then bring the arms down. As you get longer in stance, you might have to move the feet in closer before transitioning. Step the left foot forward, bend the knees, keep your upper body upright. Step the right foot back for warrior one. Take the arms forward, bring the right arm underneath the left arm, grab the shoulders. And again, just play around with sitting lower and you might be like, maybe better, right? Take a couple deep breaths here. Hands could be together as well, right? And then have the left leg straight. Get the leg to be stronger. Right? Bend the left knee. Take the arms forward. Turn the palms up. We're actually facing one another. Either one is going to rotate the shoulder out, and the hands can be wider than the shoulders. So tailbones down, pubic bones up, belly and ribs are in. Take a couple deep breaths here. Right, bring the arms down and step the right foot forward. So a couple deep breaths. Hook the thumbs behind you. See where the weight sits in the feet. Come up on the toes and look over the left shoulder. Look center. Look to the right. Look center and then lower the heels. Bring your feet together like you have one big foot. And then step the right foot in front of the left foot. So straight line. And with a straight line, you could close the eyes. And then step the right foot next to the left. Step the left foot in front of the right. So a straight line. And then if you can close the eyes, great. then bring the left foot next to the right, just basic standing position. So come down into an all four position. Come down onto your hands and your knees. Push through the hands, round the spine into a cat stretch. Look forward, look up, back bend. Exhale, round your back. And come back to neutral. Take the hands to the left side, look over the left shoulder. Bring the head down for a couple breaths, just let it go, let it hang down. And then just gradually lift it up again. Take the hands into the middle or to the right. As you take them to the right, lift the head over the right shoulder. And not that it's bad to use your eyes more. It's obviously a very good thing. But just think of the skulls lifting more. Bring the head down for a couple breaths. Let it hang down. Very good for the back of the neck. Then take the head up again. And then bring it back into the middle. So when we get to the floor, have at least one block with you. I'm going to do some things for your shoulders. Just have it again ready and available. So come down onto your forearms. When you come down onto your elbows, your forearms, lift your knees off the floor. Gather through the belly. Now I'm going to do a side plank on the forearms if I can. Spin the heels to the left side and take the right arm up to the ceiling. Really good, deceptively good for the inner thigh. Side planks are. So broad shoulders, broad upper back. Bring the right forearm, elbow down. Spin the heels to the right side. Take the left arm up. And you'll see very well which side is strong. You know, most likely you pick up with one hand more than the other. Even picking up a pencil, that'll make that side stronger. So get in the habit of using the other arm and you'll get more balanced. Bring the left arm down. Hold the plank for a couple breaths. And then come down with the knees. And then this is where we'll use the block. So my block is going to be on the lowest level. So it's basically a W position, right? But I'm going to work on the external rotation. Now this might be too high, so try it. If it doesn't work, know that the arm could be down on the floor. So I'm going to be face down, and my left elbow is going to be posted on the block. And I'm going to make my left hand into a fist, and then I'm going to lift the hand and the forearm off the floor. So my elbow stays down into the block, so it's blocking it. And then I'm taking the arm up to rotate the shoulder, and then just bring it down and just let it relax. We're just going to do one more of those. So make your hand into a fist, and then lift the hand, the fist, the forearm, and you should get a pretty deep sensation in the head of the shoulder. So if you have a difficult time with your left arm, this can be very difficult. And then bring it down, and then we're going to just take the arms beside you and lift your chest, lift your feet up off the floor. Just into like a Superman, Shalabhasana type of position. Take 3 deep breaths. And then bring yourself down, and then switch over to the opposite side. So my right arm, I'm going to come off my mat so that you can see me a little bit better. So my right elbow is down into the floor or down into my block. My forehead could be rested on my hand or on the floor. Make your right hand into a fist and lift the arm away from the floor. So, and you'll notice that you'll turn your chest more to the right to take the arm up more. Keep your chest squared if you can. And lift from the fist. Lift from the forearm, and then bring it down. Just let it relax. And then take the hand up. And you could use a little bit of weight, a can of beans or soup. That's a good weight to start with. And you could gradually, you could do more, but you don't really need a lot. You just need the tension to really integrate. You just need a small weight. And then that can really help with the shoulders. And then bring the arm down. come back up into a Sphinx position. And in Sphinx, the more you free up your shoulders and your upper back, you'll see that it's so much easier to twist. Look over the left shoulder. Look over the right. Right. Look center, and if you can, take the feet off the floor. Look over the left shoulder. Look over the right. Bring yourself to center of the head. And then we'll do a cobra, and I've taken my class before. I really like something underneath someone's hips or abdomen or pelvis. So the block can be like that. So when you come up, you might want to slide the block underneath your belly, right? And that can be very good, just resting here. I'm not going to do that, but you could just rest. And there's so much built up tension in the abdomen that can factor into how well you stand, sit, or walk. So have the hands underneath you, curl up into a low cobra or a high cobra, and then with the weight, the body resting into the block, it should take the pressure off the lower back. So use your hands, telescope through the top of the head. You could be twisting. It's not the classic approach, but it's a very good approach. Then bring yourself down and inhale if you can. Come up one more time. Use your feet. Get heavy in your legs. Use the strength of your abdomen. Lift yourself up. And then come to all fours. And then when you come on to all fours, sit on your block on the lowest comfortable level for you. Whatever that is. And if that's high, it's good. It'll get better. You'll be able to sit lower. And it's really tight through here. It's almost unfair for me to ask you to do camel, right? It's a difficult pose. But if this is relatively easy for you, the reason I do camel so much is that you could spend a long time on up dogs and cobras. And if you don't already have a lot of flexibility, you're not going to see a lot of big gains. You'll need more leverage. And there's more leverage involved with camel, right? So I could come up onto my knees, and then when you come up on your knees, you may need a really high kind of station. So like if I'm here, right, these blocks, I could set them up outside of my foot. If they're on the outside of the foot, it's much easier to grab. If I bring it to the inside of the foot or further back, that's obviously more difficult. But I'm going to turn through the chest, look to the blocks. Maybe I'm just looking to the blocks, right? But then I could, it's not more beneficial to grab. It's just something to, if I do reach back, there's going to be more space between my shoulders. That's why I'm doing it. You could look up, you could take the arm up if you wanted to. I like the hand on the chest to remind you to lift yourself up. Bring yourself up, sit back on the feet for a couple breaths, or sit on your blocks for a couple breaths. If it's easy, or just go over to the other side, you could repeat this a number of times. Difficult for you, take your time, put the blocks over to the other side, and then when you're up on, if I'm going back just to here, this is a good beginning. If I go back to here and I grab the block, great. If I go back further, it's not necessarily better, but there's more leverage. And like I said, you could do like Warrior 1 and Warrior 2 for years, and until you really leverage the body more, it's going to be very difficult to do more. So at some point you might be like, well, my yoga isn't really it's not improving very much. Well, you'll need more leverage. So it's great for the upper back. And then bring yourself back up, and then you could sit back on the feet. And then, as this position gets easier, we can go back more in these types of positions, which is actually even more leverage. All right, so come forward with your legs. And when you come forward with your legs, have your legs just straight forward and circle your feet. Get your feet to circle around. Circle around the opposite direction. and then point the feet and flex the feet. Right? And just let the chest drop down, let it round a little bit, and then lift it up. Have the knees slightly bent for this. Let the chest kind of drop down. Lift independently through each facet of the upper back. Let it drop down, and then lift up. So you get more of a wave effect into the spine. It's minimal in the thoracic, but it should move. Have the knees bent where the feet are in front of the knees. Have the hands underneath you. Grip the floor with your fingertips before you lift your hips. Lift your hips off the floor if you can. And a deep rotation through the heads of the shoulder. So think that the shoulders are moving around like in a circular motion, and that's out. All right, you could take the head back if you want to. Bring the head forward and the hips down. And then with the hips being down, you're going to pull the legs in minimally, and take the left foot underneath the right foot and leg, and step the right foot over the left knee, and then take the left arm around so that you're getting more into the shoulders and more into the hip. And not that low is better, but low will be more specific in your hip. So if you need more leverage into the rotators of the hip, this is why we're low. And then I could support my head with a block if I need to. So take a couple deep breaths here. Then bring yourself back up, and then get the left armpit close to the right knee. Have a block underneath your right hand, right? If you want more leverage in the spine, take the hand back with the block. And this is really what you were doing in camel. It's really the same position. It's just when you go back, as you do in a back bend, there's more weight to it. So if camel, you're like, I want it to be good, but it's not good yet. Stick to your twisting. Know that your bottom leg could be straight out in front of you. As it gets easier, you can move the block further and further away from you. Right? Bring the block in closer, and then turn forward and switch the legs. So you're going to bring your right foot underneath your left knee, and the left foot will be around the right knee, and the right arm is going to come around, and as it comes around, you can grab onto it, and then you get real specific through the posterior of the pelvis. So the capsule of the hip will get more free from something like this. Again, if I always like to disclose things, like if you had really inflexible hips, stick to just strengthening them for a while, and then go into getting more passive stretching. Eventually you can do that. So the head could be rested on a block. Now, if you have space between the head and the block, you could layer it, right? That's just if you want it or you need it. Take 3 deep breaths here. So let the breath adjust the tissues. No different than getting a massage, really. It's just self-care, self-massage. And then bring yourself back up. And then when you come back up, take the left hand back behind you. Try to get the right armpit closer to the left knee. So you got a singular line from the back of your mat through your shoulders to the top of your mat. Not that you have to be in that line, but that'll add more leverage, right? Then as you're lifting up in space, think that you're touching everything that's around you. Get bigger, get more three-dimensional. You could take the left hand back. So whatever shape you enjoy, circles, whatever, octagons, rectangles, right? If you're more of a that type of person, you could think that you're expanding in all these different directions as a shape. And it could be like a figure as well. So broad shoulders, broad upper back. I'm sliding the block further away from me so that I'm getting more specific in the shoulders. So take a couple deep breaths here. And then turn forward, and you can release the arm and the leg. And then just come into a Baddha Konasana position. So have the feet together, have the knees wide, have the right hand on the right thigh. My hand is closer to my knee than my pelvis. but you don't want it on the knee. So push down into the thigh and lift the thigh up into the hand. So lift up, and these are weak muscles. They're very weak. We really don't use them very much. That's why they are so weak and tight. Bring the right hand down, bring the left hand into the left thigh. And then with the left hand into the left thigh, you can lift the leg into the hand. And it could be a little pulses too. Like I need a little bit more leverage in my left adductor. So I add a little bit of pressure on my left side more than my right. Not much, just a little bit. And it can free up the bones, free up the tissues. And then bring the hands beside you and then push the legs apart. Get your legs to push apart. Get a good lift in the upper body. And then come back to neutral, meaning sitting cross-legged. Just sit in Sukhasana. Take the left hand to the left. Reach the right hand to the right. Right hand could be on a chair, or you could be leaning up against your sofa. Really a great way of doing it. Take the right hand behind the head. Turn the head towards the right arm. Right now, if you're a person, you're like, I feel pretty warm, I want to do more. You can try to get to the elbow, left arm. Your right hip might come up. It's okay, right? It's actually going to keep things safe if it does come up. You force it down. That's where you can have problems. Don't be rigid in your yoga or in your weight training or your walking or any dancing, right? Be more fluid. Take the right arm out to the right. Bring yourself back up. Slide the right hand to the right. You could get to your elbow. Right, it can move forward in space. You can take the left hand behind the head, and you'll need it on both sides, right? For different reasons. But as you do it a little bit more and more, you can get more of an understanding of what's going to benefit you more on that given moment. And then take the left arm up to the left. Again, you could come down and up. I didn't say that because it's so easy for me to get down on this side, and maybe it's the same for you. It's easier to get lower on one side. You could bring yourself back up. So have 2 blocks if you can. I'm going to be on the second level. It's for fish pose. If I've never done this before, be on a lower level. If you've never done it before, be on a softer surface, like a bolster or some really dense pillows. And then when I go back over my block, I want it just below my shoulder blades. And then when it's just below my shoulder blades, say it's like, whoa, this is a lot. You know that it's too high, right? You could stay here, not all the way back. I could take my hands behind my head, and then I move my head back, and then I'm using my thumbs or my fingers to find the block. So it might be too far away from you. And then your arms could be on you or beside you. One leg could be forward, one leg could be, both legs could be bent or straight. And then, a higher level is just a little bit more, it's just more leverage. When it's lower, still very good. Now say it's still difficult for you and you're like, I don't know if I want to be here. You could put your hands underneath your hips and you can be like, oh yeah, that's so much better, and I could hang out here and I could breathe, and it just, the higher the level, the more arc you will produce. As you do this and you're like, oh, I want to expose my neck more, I could turn the block onto the lowest level. I'm taking my left arm underneath my right arm to pick up my right side. Now you don't have to do that, but if you're a left-handed person, you might benefit in that. Your person with scoliosis, it's the low shoulder that you want to pick up. So whichever shoulder that is for you. Take 3 deep breaths. And say you're like, I've been doing this for a while and I want to see if my head can go back further. And then it could be a bit more active. And you could use the hands, which will help leverage the spine. And then when you come out of this, you might want to go back to a higher level and bend the knees and just relax for a couple of reps. Obviously you could stay longer, but when you roll out, it can be kind of hard if your blocks are hard, right? So be a bit careful in rolling. You can roll to either side. And then when you roll to that one side, use your hands, and then you can lift yourself up. I'm going to use the blocks for my knees. You don't have to. You can put the blocks behind the knees various ways. Mine are on the second level. Now when you lie back in Shavasana, you could make yourself longer on the side that you lean to. You can relax your hands on you or any position, right? Legs could be on a chair if your back is really bothering you today. The blocks underneath the knees is like a mini version of that. You know that, say you're like, oh, I really love this class and I'd like to take it again. It'll be on my YouTube channel. It's Jon Witt at YouTube. So you can find all these classes, take them when you need them. Let me know how it goes. Share them with your friends, your family. I really want to help more and more people. That's my goal, is to that's why I've always taught at really popular studios, is so that I could help more and more people. So I'm happy that I can teach more and more people online. I'm really happy about that. Stay longer if you need it. If you're ready, you could wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. You could stretch more if you obviously need it. And then when you come up, not that you have to, but you could sit on a higher surface and you struggle in your hips, you struggle in your back. Most likely that's going to be really, really helpful for you. When you sit cross-legged, especially if you're a meditator, notice that one knee is lower. Put something underneath the knee, in between the foot and the knee, and the knees will be more symmetrical and you'll be more symmetrical as you sit. So you could have the palms face up, you could slide them back, you could bring your hands together if you'd like. It's just a gesture of thanks. I had a great time today. I hope you had a beautiful class. Let me know again how it goes. Have a great weekend. If I don't see you tomorrow on Zoom, that's 10 a.m. Eastern. All right, have a great weekend. Namaste.